everyone, Kelly here, and today I wanted to continue my series about book series. I had about a month ago or so done a few videos where I talked about series I want to finish, series I'm DNFing, and so forth, and I kind of took a break for a little bit, but then I realized there was another video I wanted to talk about, which is series that I might finish. And by this I mean these are books that I read like the first book or maybe a couple books in the series and I didn't like love them. They weren't like 4 or 5 star books necessarily, but like I liked them enough that I thought, well, maybe I'll continue this, but I just haven't continued the series yet. And so this one might actually be one where you could really influence me and tell me what, if you've read these series, if it gets better as it goes along, if you've really enjoyed it, and kind of like convince me to pick up the next book. A lot of these I just read the first book and then stopped, and I just need a little like push if I want to continue. And I have 10 series here. And a lot of these are really popular. So that's why I'm saying that you guys can probably convince me, because some of these might be your favorite series, because a lot of these are very popular. And that's what I read them, a lot of them, when I first started watching BookTube and got a lot of recommendations. And then maybe they weren't for me, or maybe I just didn't have enough push to continue. And the first one is The Shades of Magic Trilogy by V.E. Schwab. And I read the first book about, I think, a year and a half ago, or maybe even just a year ago, and I don't know, I just didn't like love it. Like I thought it was fine. I think I gave it 3.5 stars. Yeah, 3.5 stars. And so it was fine. It was a little above average for me. But the problem I had with it is that it's great concept. I really enjoyed like the world she was creating with all the different Londons and all that stuff. But I felt like it got very formulaic. It was like heavy on exposition, and then like all the fight scenes, both physically and magically, just felt like very redundant, and like kind of like I knew exactly how the fight was gonna go and who was going to, you know, get beaten back but then come back and all this, you know, like I knew exactly what was happening in each of the fight scenes, so it didn't really feel like there was a lot of stakes. But this is also the first book in a series, and I've heard, especially in this one, that it gets better as it goes and the stakes get higher. So let me know if this is one of your favorite series, if you think that it kind of becomes more action-packed. And I just like when she creates this world that seems like it should have all these life or death situations. I really want to see those life and death situations. I want to see the stakes. I don't want to think that everybody's going to come out okay. And so that's what I want to know, is that does it get more like that as it goes on? And then the next one is the Grisha Trilogy by Leigh Bardugo, and I read Shadow and Bone, and I gave it, I think, 3 stars, and it was okay. Like, I felt like it was very typical, very predictable arc of the story. I just didn't love it. I did start the second book. I can't remember what the second book's called, and I liked the introduction of Nikolai, is that what his name is? Like, I liked his character, but then I just kind of put it down and never picked it back up. But now that I know that she is creating more books in that universe, and like with that character that I was starting to enjoy with Nikolai, hopefully I'm saying his name and remembering it correctly, I feel like I should go back and read the trilogy, especially because I want to read the like Six of Crows duology, which I know you can read separate, but you know, if I'm gonna read it, I want to do it before I read Six of Crows so I can read things in publication order. So I just need a push to finish the series out, and I just haven't gotten back into it. I'm also worried that I will have forgotten, because I think I started this like 2 years ago. I'm afraid I'm gonna forget the first book, and I really don't want to reread it since I didn't love it the first time. So that's where I'm at. The next one is The Dublin Murder Squad, which is by Tana French, and this is like a detective kind of series about this like squad in Dublin. And so like each one is not from the exact same like detective. Like I know for sure that the first one, that detective is not the detective in the second one. Like his partner is the like main character in the second one, and then I think it switches detectives as it goes. And I've only read the first book, which was In the Woods, and I gave it 3 stars. And I don't know, it was one of those, like, it's like a detective mystery, but it's also very like literary. Like she writes these books, very flowery kind of writing, a lot different than most mystery books. And I think going into it expecting just like your standard detective mystery, I wasn't expecting so much flowery writing. And so it caught me off guard, and it took me a long time to read, which usually mystery books are so quick. So that's why I don't think I like loved it, but I don't know, like it gets really good ratings. So I wanted to at least like try the second book. I do own the second book. I actually own the second and the fourth for some reason. And so I don't know, I think I just need to be pushed to like at least try the second one. If not, get rid of the ones I own. And then next I have the Wayward Children series by Shauna Maguire. I've actually read 3 of these books. There's 5 out now, is that right? Or 4? I don't even remember. Maybe it's like there's 4 out now and the next one is coming out next year. And I liked these. I actually gave the first book 3 stars and the next 2 4 stars. So I did enjoy them. But I think the problem is that I don't do necessarily well with novellas that are part of a series because they're so short. I don't remember like anything. I only read them like a year or a year and a half ago, and I don't really remember anything. I feel like I'd have to read them all over again. So I feel like maybe what I might do is wait until at least this 5th book that's coming out next year is out and then read them again because they're so short. I think I could read them again and maybe read them in a different order because I know the publication order is not the chronological order, but since I've already read the first 3, maybe I'll like read the prequel first and then the 2 that are kind of back to back chronologically. Maybe that'll help me. I don't know. I know a lot of people love these, but I just didn't feel like that love for them that a lot of other people did, but I felt that they were well written. So I don't know. This is one of those, I might or might not. And the next one is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy by Douglas Adams. I have read the first book, which is The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, twice now, and like once like many years ago, and then I read it again like 2 years ago, and I really enjoyed it. I gave it 4 stars. It was a lot of fun. I just don't know if it needed to be a series. Like I think it's just one of those that doesn't have to continue. It could be a standalone book, and so in my mind I was kind of like, oh, I'm done with it. But if you guys have read it and you think the other books are worthwhile, let me know. If not, I might just call it a standalone and be done with that series. Who knows? I did listen to them, and I think they're narrated by Stephen Fry, who's a great narrator, so I might listen to them just for the narration. Next I have Girl Meets Duke by Tessa Dare, which is, right now it's a trilogy, but I think there's a 4th book coming out next year maybe. And this is a historical romance book, very heavy on the romance. And I listened to the first one, and it was fun. I gave it 3 stars, but I had some problems with like the sexual consent and some of that kind of stuff, which might be typical to historical romance. I don't know. This is the only historical romance I've ever read, but I did like the characters, and I thought it was really funny. And the 3rd book in the series is a character that I really enjoyed, like a side character I really enjoyed. So I at least want to read the 3rd book, but then I'm thinking I don't know if I should read the 2nd one just because I should stay in order. I don't think it's necessary. I don't know. If you are a historical romance fan, let me know if I should just read the whole series. I'm still on the fence of whether I should just skip and read the 3rd one. We'll see. And then the next one is a trilogy called Fantasy and Fairy Tales. And actually Fantasy and Fairy Tales is like an overarching like 11 book series, but then it has like little like trilogies along the way. And this first trilogy was about Rapunzel, and this is by M. Lynn. They're self-published books. So I wanted to support a self-published author, and the books covers are beautiful. I read the first 2 books in the trilogy, which are Golden Curse and Golden Chains. I gave them each like 3.5 stars and then 3 stars, so middle of the road. They weren't necessarily my cup of tea in the fact that it was like very like the romance in these is very dramatic and gets annoying because it's like will they, won't they, will they, won't they, will they, won't they, like over and over again, and it just got a little much for me. But I did like the world she was creating, and I feel like it was getting to be like very like dark in the 3rd, and they're kind of short. I think it's only like an 8-hour audiobook, so I might finish it out. I don't know. It's one of those that like I need to do it soon or I will completely forget everything. I almost even forgot when I was like thinking of the synopsis. I don't even know like if I could tell you exactly what the synopsis is, other than like it's about a girl who is kind of like at odds with this prince, and she has to like protect him because of a curse on her family. And that's about all I remember. And if I go any longer, I'm gonna forget the rest of it. So might need to continue soon or give up on it. Next I have the Buffy the Vampire Slayer graphic novels. So the graphic novels pick up where the show ended, and so they call them in seasons instead of like volumes or whatever. And so I have read all of season 8, which, you know, comes out right after the show. And I enjoyed it. I gave the first half, because I read them as an omnibus, as the first half and the second half. And the first half I gave 4 stars, and the second half I gave 3 stars. Because I didn't really like the way it was going towards the end, but I liked being back in that Buffy verse with like the characters. So it might be something I just pick up for fun one day, but I don't know if I'm gonna go out of my way to finish. I think there's like maybe 3 more seasons of the graphic novels. I can't remember exactly. So we'll see. At the time I was reading them because I wanted to get to the book Slayer by Kristen White, is that her name? But now I don't think I'm gonna read that book, so I didn't really have to read the graphic novels, but I found them kind of enjoyable, so I might pick them up just for fun if my library has them. Next I have a duology, and that's the Dumpling duology. I don't know if there's another name for this duology. The second book is Puddin', and this is about a plus-size character who, her mother is in charge of this whole like beauty pageant, and she decides to join the beauty pageant, and kind of about the relationship with her mother. There's a little romance and, you know, stuff like that. And I just found the book a little boring. I loved the movie, but the book I found just kind of dull. Like the storyline didn't really capture me. But I've heard that Puddin', the second book, is a little more interesting. And so if you've read Puddin' and you think I should read it, let me know. Just based on like my feelings about the first book, if you thought the second book was better. If you think they're like on par, the same, I probably won't continue, because I would rather just stick with the movie if that's the way the second book is, but I'll give it a try if people say that it's better than the first book. And then the last one is the Hercule Poirot series by Agatha Christie. So this is, you know, obviously a huge series. I don't even know how many books are in this series. 1 million, probably. I don't know. Tons. And Agatha Christie has a lot of series and a lot of standalones, and I have read 2 of her standalones, gave them 5 stars, absolutely loved them, and then I read 2 Poirot books and didn't love them. They were like 3 stars for me. I read number 1, which is The Mysterious Affair of Styles, and number 13, which is The ABC Murders, because you don't have to read them in order. And I just don't really like Poirot as a character. I think that sounds bad, because I know everybody loves Agatha Christie and Poirot is like her big one, but I just didn't really love it, so I don't know. I might just kind of stick with reading either her standalones, or I want to try her, oh, and now I've completely forgot. The woman. She has a woman detective or private investigator person, and I can't remember her name. So I might stick with that series instead, try that character instead of Poirot. But there's just something about Poirot that just really annoys me, and his partner. I cannot remember what his partner's name. Hastings really bothers me. So just those 2 guys, not a big fan. So I don't know. If there's a specific Poirot book that you think I should really try that's like your favorite, let me know what it is, because I'm not worried about reading them in order. If not, I might just try her other books and just skip Poirot altogether. All right, and that is it. Those are the 10 series that I might finish. Not sure. I need a little nudge. I just don't have a lot of incentive to pick them up. And that's all for this series for now. I will have another video in this series at the end of the year, all about the series that I have finished in 2019 and what I think of them. So look forward to that coming soon. I'll talk to you next time. Bye.